Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Chapter 3, The Pool of Tears.
Things are getting stranger by the minute,
Alice said as she kept growing. When she looked down, her feet were almost out of sight.
Goodbye, feet!
Alice said.
I wonder who will put on your shoes and socks. I will be much too far away to help you.
Then she began to worry. What if her feet wouldn't walk where she wanted to go?
I must be nice to them. I'll give them a new pair of boots every Christmas. But it will seem strange to send presents to my own feet. Oh dear, I am talking nonsense.
Just then her head hit the hall ceiling. Alice kept growing. She was more than 9 feet tall, but she wasn't upset. Now she was big enough to reach the gold key on the glass table. Alice picked up the key and hurried to the garden door. Poor Alice. She was so big. If she lay on her side, she could look into the garden with one eye. As for getting into the garden, that was harder than ever. Alice started to cry again. She tried scolding herself, but that only made her cry harder. Alice cried buckets of tears. A large pool formed around her, 4 inches deep and spreading halfway down the hall. After a while, Alice heard footsteps in the distance. She quickly wiped her eyes so she could see who was coming. It was the White Rabbit, wearing a jacket and carrying white gloves and a fan. He trotted through the dark hall, muttering to himself.
The Duchess, she'll be very angry if I've kept her waiting.
Alice was feeling very desperate by now. She was willing to ask for help from anyone, even a talking rabbit. She waited until the White Rabbit was nearby before speaking in a quiet, timid voice.
Please, sir.
Startled, the White Rabbit dropped his gloves and fan. He ran as fast as he could into the darkness. Alice picked up the rabbit's things. She began to fan herself because the hall was very hot.
How strange everything is today,
Alice said.
Yesterday, everything was normal. I wonder if I somehow changed overnight. I almost think I did feel a little different this morning.
Alice continued to fan herself.
Maybe I've changed into another person.
She thought about all her friends. She hadn't been changed into any of them. Alice burst into tears again.
I wish Charlotte would look down this rabbit hole and call my name. I'm so tired of being here all alone.
As she said this, she looked down. She saw that she'd put on one of the White Rabbit's gloves.
How can his glove fit me? I must be shrinking again.
Alice ran back to the table and stood next to it for comparison. She decided that she was about 2 feet high. And she was continuing to shrink.
It must be the fan,
Alice said. She dropped it to save herself from completely disappearing.
That was a narrow escape. And now for the garden.
Alice ran back to the garden door. But it was locked again, and she didn't have the key. She searched the hall and found the key on the glass table.
How did the key get here?
Alice looked up at it in despair.
Things are worse than ever because I've never been this small before.
Just as she said this, her foot slipped.
Whoa!
Alice fell up to her chin in salt water. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Chapter 4, Another Swimmer. When she fell into the salt water, Alice thought she had fallen into the sea. But she soon realized she was in a pool of her own tears.
I cried all these tears when I was 9 feet high,
Alice said. She swam about trying to find her way to dry land.
I wish I hadn't cried so much. I'll be punished for that by drowning in my own tears. That will be strange indeed. But everything is strange today.
Just then, Alice heard something splashing. At first she thought it must be a walrus or a hippo. But then she remembered how small she was. The creature must be small too. Alice swam toward the sound and soon spotted a mouse, which had also fallen into the pool.
Is there any point in speaking to this creature?
Alice thought.
Can he even understand me? Everything is so strange down here that he probably can talk.
She decided to take a chance and speak to him.
Oh, Mouse!
Alice called.
Do you know the way out of this pool? I'm very tired of swimming. Oh, Mouse!
The mouse looked at Alice with some interest. He also seemed to wink at her, but said nothing.
Perhaps he doesn't understand English,
Alice said to herself.
Maybe he's from France.
Alice decided to try speaking some French. All she could think of was the first sentence in her French grammar book. Unfortunately, that sentence was, "Where is my cat?" The mouse gave a sudden leap out of the water and quivered with fright.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
Alice said quickly.
I forgot that mice dislike cats.
Dislike cats?
The mouse cried.
Would you like cats if you were me?
Well, perhaps not. But don't be angry with me.
Alice said calmly. She was glad that the mouse spoke English.
I wish that I could show you my cat, Dinah. I think you'd learn to like cats if you met her. Dinah is such a dear, quiet thing.
The mouse said nothing. Alice swam lazily around the pool as she described Dinah for the mouse.
Dinah lies by the fire, purring so nicely. She licks her paws and washes her face. She's such a nice, soft thing to pet. And she's the best at catching mice.
The mouse was shaking with anger, and Alice was sure she had offended him.
Oh, I beg your pardon,
Alice said.
We won't talk about Dinah anymore.
We?
The mouse squeaked.
As if I would talk about such a thing. Our family has always hated cats. Don't let me hear that word again!
All right,
Alice said as she desperately tried to think of another topic of conversation.
how about dogs? Are you fond of dogs?
The mouse did not reply, so Alice went on eagerly.
There's such a nice dog on the farm near our house. It fetches things when you throw them. And it sits up and begs for its dinner. The farmer says it's worth a lot of money. That's because it's so good at catching rats and...
The mouse started swimming away from Alice as fast as he could.
Oh no, I'm afraid I've hurt his feelings again.
Alice said in a sad voice. She decided to try one more time to make friends with the frightened animal.
Mouse dear,
Alice called softly.
if you come back, I promise we won't talk about dogs or cats anymore.